So we'll make that happen soon. Yeah, but this year it's not really gonna be a big thing for us because we're not putting like a a top guy in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were trying to do before. Some of those other teams, they really are trying to do that.
Yeah.
But still, I respect it. It's like I'm not gonna take,
we still should put a decent player in.
yeah, I mean, if we come across,
I
one.
don't think we leave it to chance. We should try to think of somebody that'll be. Because again, the reality is that's going to be our seventh guy, which with some absences becomes your fifth guy in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know, especially that first pick. You know.
Yeah, but do we want to chance that with Day Day? Well, if we get a good guy, then
well, let's talk when we're not live.
Huh? Yeah.
Because again, the reality is that's going to be our seventh guy, which
this
some absences becomes your fifth guy in a hurry.
Yeah. Colorado clip is catching some traction.
Oh, good. Colorado.
Yeah, but let's see here.
I think who are they opening with? Like the School of the Poor?
What you talking about?
The Buffaloes.
It's funny because I'm seeing so many people. This is what's going on. I'm seeing so many people say that like Colorado is not going to win. They're not going to do anything. And I'm like, man, that schedule is just so weak by them changing conferences.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they don't pull off at least bare minimum a 3-loss season.
So like 9-3.
I'll be floored if they don't.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go through the season with 1 or 2 losses only. And I mean, like, I'll be shocked if they don't do that. And then the question is going to be, I think what it's going to come down to is should you put them in the playoffs with a weak schedule with 2 losses, and then Deion's going to do his. He's going to do his thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, if they win the league, I think it'd be hard to deny them. If they're
and I'm thinking like runner up to the league, but what maybe like 2 losses, 3 losses.
Honestly, I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say no. If they can't win that league, they don't belong in. Because there's just better teams. Like that's the reality.
Yeah, but then what are you going to get to? Then the argument is going to be the 4th SEC team over Colorado. You know what I mean? Like, it's 12 spots. So you're talking whatever, 2nd and 3rd ACC team, the 4th SEC team, you know what I mean?
No, I get it, but
versus
I mean,
the runner-up in this Big 12 league, you know? That's what the argument is going to be. I'm
know
with you.
I know what the argument's going to be. But like, if you lose, and that's the other side of the Florida State thing. We didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
But if you're Colorado and you go out there and you can't win that league, you don't have a lot of leverage to say you belong.
Yeah.
Because you're not winning a league that everybody agrees is not particularly strong.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that. And if we had dropped a game, if we had lost the Florida game, come back the next week and beat Louisville, I knew
you
we
would
were
understand.
Out.
Yeah,
I knew we were out, but we did everything you're supposed to do. So that was the injustice of it all.
And save that. We're coming to that later. So save some of that juice.
We are?
Yeah, we are.
I'm always here to rail against injustice.
Oh man, that is cool. Let's go ahead and get it started. I don't have a song today.
Oh, we already did.
Yeah. I know, right? Get the juices flowing a little bit. Deion has a tendency to do that. All right. No Diddy. Oh man, shout out to Diddy, man. That's just going to be like that's enriched, entrenched, enshrined in our
lexicon.
Yeah, now, man. I guess be remembered for something, you know.
I guess so.
Be remembered for something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Maybe our grandkids would say that term.
You think?
Nah, something will come up for sure.
You're sitting there as like a grandpa and some grandkids running around like 3 years old going, "Oh, Diddy." I remember those days.
I remember those days. Oh man. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We are available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All right. Today we got a good show for you guys. We're going to be talking a lot of sports and entertainment. You got Tyler Perry's new movie, Divorced in the Black, or something like that, Divorced in the Black. You got, presidential attacks. Alrighty. We have Skip Bayless news. He's going to be leaving us. Maybe not in the way some people would like. You have Florida TNT.
How do some people want Skip Bayless to leave?
Some people may have wanted him in the place of Donald Trump that day. I don't know.
I know where I prefer that.
We have Florida TNT in the TBT, the basketball tournament, which will eventually be on ESPN. It is the fight for $1 million. It is an Orlando-based team. We're always rooting for those guys. But this year they have a really special chance here. They've been at it for a couple of times. We'll get into that as well. All right, and some men's BBLs, all of that good stuff. All right.
That's just. I saw that and I was just like, come on. What is it? What are we coming to?
I was back to my thinking earlier.
Oh, you got back to thinking.
Back to thinking, man.
After a couple weeks off.
Yeah. I took a couple of weeks off. Sometimes you just need a break, a mental break.
Are you?
You know what I mean? What's funny is when you talk about like good luck, I feel lucky to live like in this era. I've been watching shows and movies of like a lot of older stuff, and I mean like really, really older stuff, like whatever, 1400 stuff like that.
You mean like, okay,
like living in these times, like in this.
The things you're watching are based in that time period.
Yeah, in that time period.
I thought you were going to talk about. I'm watching like maybe movies or films that were made like 20, 30 years
No.
ago.
Based in that time, based in that time period.
Yeah,
and it's like aside from the obvious, like being in slavery or being back in the times with Hitler or whatever. Like I don't want any parts of those. Okay, but even more so, not to compare the two, but way back, I couldn't imagine being in those, prehistoric times. Like it just was nothing. Like I like even when I was a kid, like a really small kid growing up, I remember when we still had maps. Yeah. And to even think about those times, how crazy that is, to where we had to depend on directions from idiots, like random people. You would if you were in a town you weren't familiar with and you're trying to get somewhere, you are going to ask a random person, like, hey, how do you know where this place is at? Yeah, I know how to get there. Yeah. You take, you take two lefts and don't go too far. Then you gotta, and before you can just pull it up and be there in 5 minutes on your smartphone. Even before MapQuest, when you print out the directions, like, I was a teenager then when you would print out the directions on MapQuest.
I remember those days.
You know what I mean? But when I was like a toddler, you had the big fucking maps and stuff like that if you were going out of town. That was just to go to fucking Gainesville or Jacksonville from Orlando. You know what I mean? But way back then, when you had to start a fire with logs.
You're jumping all around.
I know, but what I'm saying is I can appreciate the era I'm living in now even more so than when I was a toddler, and way more so than way back then. What those guys had to do way back then. I don't know.
No, I've always been big. I'm like, how did people have sex like back in the middle centuries?
But when they didn't shower normally.
Yeah, like there's no deodorant, there's no showering. Everybody's outside in the elements all freaking day. Like, who could eat a coochie under those circumstances? I mean, you might as well eat an ass.
You might as well.
I don't get it at all. I'll even say it struck me watching Yellowstone.
Yeah.
The show there, because I'm like, I enjoyed the show, But would I want to be one of the farm hands? Like you're up at 6 a.m. You're venturing out into the property there for 12, 13-hour day.
Yeah.
What type of food's available? Like, you're shitting out there in the woods. Like, this is miserable.
It is.
And they somehow made it seem cool in the show. But,
and a lot of it's based off like the family that you were born in. That pretty much determines your faith.
Exactly.
Your fate.
Exactly.
And I would grow up resenting my parents like that. This is the best you guys could do.
This is what you've done to me.
Jeez Louise.
Dude, when I was a kid, we used to come down to Florida. I grew up in Connecticut. We used to come down to Florida like for bike week because my dad used to race, and then we followed racing for a while. But I remember like when you drive down the highway or rural highways or whatever, and then you'd see these like really like dilapidated shacks and things on the side of the road. And I remember consciously thinking to myself, I was like, man, I'm so glad I wasn't born and that was where we were staying.
Right.
That doesn't look like it has air conditioning right now.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Nah, I get it. That's funny.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But it is like in the big picture of things, like there's always stories of people kind of overcoming like where they were born to or what their situation was.
Yeah.
But for more people, it like significantly influences the outcome of your life for better or for worse.
Yeah.
When you're born to a certain place and you're in a certain environment, like that's kind of what you know. That's kind of what you familiarize yourself with. And a lot of people never escape that. Whether you're in middle America in a farm or if you're somewhere here in Orlando or whatever, and you don't ever get out of that, and that's kind of all you know. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. You get stuck in that element. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once you adapt to those living, whatever it is that you're doing, once you adapt to that environment, it becomes home, right? And then you just never leave, right? Yeah, until.
Right. But that's
until
why,
that first bastard child leaves the nest.
But I think that's why too, like it's so important to go and see other stuff. Whether like for me, I went away to college.
Yeah.
You went away to college. And
yeah.
when you do that, like you meet people from different areas who kind of have different ways of doing things, and it kind of like some of it you like makes you better. Some of it just kind of affirms, oh yeah, I have it better than a lot of these folks or whatever. it is what it is. But like that, it's so important to get outside your environment and get just what it gives you is a perspective on what your life is. And then from there you could say, well, hey, maybe there's something better for me or whatever. But if you never get out, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
No, for sure. All right, moving along here. What I want to do really, really quick, and what you didn't know, Pink, is that this entire episode is powered by Aplomo Tequila, okay?
Aplomo?
I was given this bottle by one of the owners, two of the owners actually. This is the Reposado brand. And this tequila is just so awesome. It's a premium tequila at a lower price. You can't beat it, and the taste is just awesome. And of course, they have all three brands of tequila: the Reposado, the Blanco. You know the rest, okay? And the taste is just so smooth, okay? So smooth, so tasty. Aplomo Tequila, I'm telling you, man. And they wanted on the Bench podcast to bring it up.
Shout out,
to shout it out, man.
So you could take a shot of that tequila and not need a chaser.
No, not at all, man.
Wow.
You could take a shot of this tequila and it won't even smell on you, okay? They won't even smell it on you. You can drink this and go to work.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Your boss will have no idea. Okay? Aplomo.
There you go.
All right, man. Let's move this along here. What are we going to talk about first? Okay? We got a lot of trending topics here. I'll tell you what. Let's go to football because it's been a while, but football is like really turning the corner. It's going to be here.
Fast.
It's coming fast, man. Coming fast, like me in the bedroom, man. All right. So one of the things that's been trending over the last this week here is the top 10 quarterbacks that they come out with this list every single year, and it gets the people talking. All right. So first, I want to give you the list that they came up with, all right?
Okay.
And then we'll have our changes to the list.
Changes.
Yeah, there you go, all right? So and I had it pulled up here, and then it disappeared on me here, all right?
Oh no.
I know that Jared Goff made the list, so
Okay.
you guys show me this list, man. Come on, Google. All right, here we go. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Number 9, Jared Goff. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers. 7 was C.J. Stroud. 6, Justin Herbert. 5, Matthew Stafford. 4, Lamar Jackson. 3, Josh Allen. 2, Joe Burrow. 1, Patrick Mahomes. All right, the one true young GOAT. Now, left off this list. All right, you let me know if you want any of these guys on the list before we start rearranging the guys that are on it. Of course, Tua.
That was the first name that was in my head.
Okay, so Tua did not make this list. And then I think that's probably the biggest. Oh, Jalen Hurts did not make this list. You got Jalen Hurts, Tua, and then of course the also Rams. We'll add Russell Wilson to that list, even though we know. All right.
Russell Wilson. Yeah.
So when you have this list, I put it down here so you can just have. Yeah. Who's too high or who shouldn't be on the list to you, in your opinion?
I would put Stroud in front of Herbert.
On what basis?
Didn't Stroud win a playoff game?
That's all we need to do now?
Checkmate. He showed more in his rookie year than Herbert has shown in 3 or 4 years.
Herbert showed he could throw the ball around the field.
That's great. Send him to a combine again. Dude, he's a piece of shit. He's been a piece of shit.
Boy, he has a strong coach now.
Now he's going to throw 4 passes a game. So, I would move him up. Stafford I have a lot of respect for. I think his peers have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
I would put Tua in front of Dak for sure. But other than that, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, legitimately, it's a fair question. We know what Aaron Rodgers is, but he's coming off an Achilles, hasn't played in over a year. There's questions there. Is he going to perform at that level or not? But, he is an all-time great, a Hall of Famer, so I'll afford him that respect. But, yeah, I would say Tua is, like, the most glaring. Hurts, like, quite literally hurt himself last year. As things spiraled downward with that Eagles team, he was not anywhere to be found in terms of like raising the flag. So I don't have a problem with him being off. Jared Goff had a very good year, high-powered offense. Everybody loves Hurts. Dak's the most vulnerable guy on there.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at it, like, Detroit was tough. And
Goff
played well.
Yeah, Goff should be
Rodgers
on
is there on pedigree.
Yeah.
Stroud is on a trajectory to be a top-tier guy. Herbert, I mean, everyone's infatuated with him. Lamar's the reigning MVP. In the top 3, we know what they are. I mean, nobody's bitching about those guys.
No. I honestly, I only have small movements to make on this list. Like I have Lamar second over Joe and Josh. I know Joe Burrow is the truth, but if you're not going to be able to stay healthy, you're just not going to be able to stay healthy. I mean, but
it's the exact same thing that was said about Lamar at this time last year.
Yeah,
is the health thing.
And Lamar wasn't second last year. He had a healthy campaign last year, and this is what happens when you have a healthy campaign. Yeah. All right, and with the 2 MVPs, now he hasn't had a ton of playoff success. But, how many of these guys has outside of Mahomes?
Yeah.
I know Burrow had the 1 Super Bowl run, but this is 2 years removed now. Yeah. So we gotta see.
Goff had a Super Bowl run too.
Yeah, way back. Yeah. Now it's way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the only thing. Josh Allen is tricky, but I think I still keep him at 3 or 4. That's debatable. He has the talent. He has some wins here and there in the postseason. Now they've kind of stripped a lot of his talent away. So I don't know what it's going to look like this year.
Well, if you break this down, like we have 3 guys on this list that have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We have 5 guys that have played in a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Out of this. And then, like, when we break down specifically, Dak, his team's reluctant to extend him. He's always been a failure in the playoffs. I don't think anything's going to change with them. I thought you had a very great take that might be a Shedeur Sanders landing spot.
Yeah, but I can't put Tua over him. I'm not going to
No.
go that far.
Well,
Over
I
Dak.
would. I'd put myself over him. Really. I was a hell of a quarterback at FSU on the intramural fields. They're very close to the practice fields, right across the way. Jared Goff, though, I mean, he's interesting. Again, Super Bowl appearance early in his career. Detroit's very talented on offense. They should not take a step backward if he performs at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers coming back off the Achilles. We'll see what he's got.
Yeah.
Stroud, they've gone all in. They've given him all the tools to succeed offensively.
I'm not mad at the Stroud placement at all.
No, and he's done everything on his part through one season that you could hope a guy could do. And it's on him to keep this trajectory going.
Yeah.
Herbert's going to have a new situation. I think they'll win more games, but I think he might not be as statistically impressive.
Okay.
Because of the way Harbaugh likes to play football.
And maybe that's what he needs.
Could be. Could win more and, at the cost of things. Stafford is a guy, the more you listen to people talk, like he's a guy that other quarterbacks hold highly.
Yeah.
And so for that, and again, he's a Super Bowl champion. I respect that. Lamar, they bring in Derrick Henry's the big offensive change and see how that goes. But yeah, the expectations should continue to be high. I do think Josh Allen's got a big hurdle in front of him. I mean, they kind of lost his receiving tools that he's been worked with.
The second receiver.
Davis,
yeah.
Sanford's own, and you can't remember his name.
Come on, man. Give me a couple of seconds at least. I'm getting old.
But it'll be really telling if he has a very good year. Big time credit to him.
Yeah.
But if he falters, there's going to be a lot to say about that.
Yeah. Now they do have your guy. He's a rookie.
Coleman. Well, yeah, rookie. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think Josh Allen's talented, but when you lose guys that you've been throwing the ball to for a while,
that has to. You have to feel it somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere in the season.
Burrow. Yeah, I mean, again, I think Burrow's biggest question is his personal health.
That's it.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, I like him as number 2. A lot of times, the best quarterback. You know what I mean? Like,
not a lot of times. No, Pat is at the top of this. It's not close.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do this in tiers, like which I prefer, I think it's a better way to do it. Again, I think you have Mahomes.
Yeah.
Then you have Burrow, Allen, Jackson in kind of a tier. And then I think you kind of go to that next grouping of, for me, it would be Stafford, Stroud, Rodgers. And then after that, you're kind of like Herbert, Goff, Tua, maybe Dak, maybe Jalen Hurts in that mix. Maybe Trevor Lawrence gets a sniff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of that tier, guys. Oh, and the other guy, actually, Jordan Love.
Oh, Jordan, he's emerging.
But
you like him over Dak?
I like a lot of people over Dak. I do. Yeah, but here's the thing. Jordan Love in his first full year as a starter played exceptionally well.
But he got off to such a rocky start. The first, 5 or 6 games. Now he was electrifying on the back half.
On the back half.
And then postseason, he had a postseason win.
But here's why I'm saying this. We have enough data on Dak that we know exactly what Dak is.
100%.
It's not a winner. Now, again, we do the trajectory game with younger guys that are stepping in, and Stroud has a really high trajectory based on what he's shown. But to me, Jordan Love, the way he finished the season, the way that's a young team with keeping the pieces together, his trajectory is also a top 10 guy.
And shout out to Green Bay, man, because when they drafted him, there were so many questions. Aaron Rodgers, first of all, didn't know they were going to draft him. Yeah. Didn't like that they drafted him. Aaron Rodgers was still playing. He was still playing great football, but they followed their motto. They did the same thing with Brett Favre, and that's what they knew to do. And they say, okay, I know Aaron is still looking great, but this is the time that we normally make this move and for the future. And they did it. And it looked like it's going to pan out because the first couple of years they were saying, oh, Jordan, he's not looking good in practice. He's not developing the way we want. We should have kept Aaron around, and they kept developing and kept developing. Got the right coaching staff around him. And now, look at it. You have a great young team, not just Jordan Love. You have a great young team around him that you drafted around the same time. Those guys are kind of growing up together. And now they're going to battle. The Detroit Lions is in that division. That's going to become a great rivalry again,
Well, and another
like
guy
that.
we also omitted is Brock Purdy.
Ah, man, Brock.
What has he done wrong?
Yeah.
Why isn't he?
Yeah, Brock
in
is an
this?
interesting name.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of these guys are getting credit for a Super Bowl appearance. He has one too.
No,
so,
Brock
yeah.
is an interesting
Yeah,
name.
no, I mean, I think he needs to be in the discussion for this. I mean, personally, I would take him over Dak. I would probably take him over Jared Goff, and I would take him over Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I don't. You're driving too far. I was in the car. I had to hop out on you.
Why do you stand by Justin Herbert? Like
I'm not prepared to throw him to the side. That's all. I'm just hesitant on that. I know I have that same eyes, quality eyes that you have.
What has he done?
He has the tools in the toolbox. See, some of these guys, Dak doesn't have the tools that Herbert has. You know what I mean? Herbert has a electrifying arm. He is accurate. Okay, he takes chances down the field, and he doesn't have like a ton of all pro weapons, and he still gets the job done. And and he had an idiot coach for several years, a coach that may not coach again. Like, I put stock in that. Like, he hasn't. Herbert hasn't done what he needed to do late in the season, and to have any postseason success. But everyone that knows football it tells you that coach had no idea what he was doing. He made terrible calls. We know about the timeout snafus and he was a part of that. Wasn't he a part of the backup quarterback? Him and the medical staff. I'll Google it. Tyrod Taylor. He's a part of that snafu too. Yeah. So we'll see what Herbert. I need to see what Herbert looks like with this new coaching staff. I want to give him this chance here.
I don't think it's going to help him personally. It'll help the team achieve, but I don't think you're going to watch Justin Herbert and be blown away.
Okay.
Because of the way Harbaugh's going to play.
Well, Purdy plays in a similar system. He's not blowing anyone away.
It's not a similar system. It's really not.
No?
No. What the 49ers do is like offensive art. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't fully realize it until I watched them live against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
The amount of motion and shifts that they implement, it's just mentally taxing for a defense.
Yeah. And
like to stay disciplined, to not blow a coverage on like off of the shifts and this and that, and to stay locked in and match that move for move is extremely difficult. It's got to put exhausting pressure on defense to defend them. And I mean, to their credit, you're not just defending average dudes either. They've got a lot of high tier guys. On that team.
So what do you think they should do with this Brandon Ayuk situation? He's requested a trade.
I hate situations like this. He's found real traction in his career as a 49er. He's part of a beautiful offensive system, but the economics of the game dictate that he's probably going to have to go get paid somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so they want to hold on to him as long as they can. He wants to get the hell out and get paid as quickly as he can. When we just have an ugly offseason, and it'll probably resolve with him leaving and the 49ers hopefully getting decent capital for that back. But I don't like it. If I'm the 49ers, I'm not happy, or a 49er fan. I want to run it back with all those weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, there were moments when Ayuk outplayed Debo as far as the receiver play.
Yeah, I was reading something yesterday. They were saying how 49ers have they're really running Debo into the ground. Debo had a stretch in one of those off seasons where he was demanding a larger contract because of he's running the ball, he's receiving the ball. Sometimes they have him in the return game. But he's such a dynamic player that you just want him a part of every play. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've always said Debo would be a top 3, top 5 running back if that's what he chose to do. He's that dynamic of a runner with the ball in his hands, but he just so happens, he's also a great receiver. But all of these injuries, Ayuk has been the most dependable and reliable receiving threat that they've had because of Debo's injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ayuk has become one of the best, like just pure route running receivers in the league.
I feel a little bit differently about Debo. I don't think he would be a top 3 or 5 running back if he focused on that. And I don't think he'd be a top 5 receiver if he focused on that. I think he is a unique player that is great at what he does, and that is that hybrid role. Mm-hmm. And I also believe that hybrid role of receiver-runner is going to be the direction the game goes, because there are not going to be kids that grow up wanting to play running back anymore. And because they know it's tough to get in the league, it's tough to get paid in the league, it's tough to last long in the league. And, what do you want, a 3 or 4 year career and a flame out as a running back? Or do you want maybe 6 or 8, double that, as a hybrid receiver runner? And I think a lot of teams are going to move to a model of play that, you have a couple different sort of multi-purpose guys that catch passes and run out of the backfield, and you get that offensive balance with that, but you're not looking to give a single guy 18 to 24 carries. As you have in the past.
Yeah.
The 49ers are, McCaffrey still gets a bunch of carries.
Yeah. But
they are closer to that where they'll get Debo involved. They usually give a couple carries to a second back who's not McCaffrey in their offense.
McCaffrey is still essentially in a hybrid role.
That's why they're
a couple
like
of guys, you're saying,
they're in that's the other beauty of their personnel, because McCaffrey can line up in both places and be very effective. Debo can. George Kittle at tight end is a guy that can operate, in line with his hand down, or they can flex him out in different places. And then you have, like an Ayuk, who's more of a traditional pure receiver, and then the other younger guy, Johnson, number 15.
Yeah,
Johnson, Jennings, maybe. Jennings.
And they just drafted the Gators receiver, Pearsall.
Pearsall,
He's going to be really good in the slot.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so we'll see where that goes. That's the top 10 quarterbacks is concerned. Now, one thing about doing this show is you know what ticks me off and gets me going, whether it's the Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, or some foolishness going on with HBCUs. And then with you got, Trump or just typical idiots that are, around. But one thing is also idiots talking about, Florida State. So you have SEC's Greg Sankey. Did you see this earlier here?
No.
This was earlier today. And basically he took a shot at Florida State defending Georgia. All right. So this was his comment here. He says, let's see here. He says, Georgia was one of the best 4 teams in the nation and didn't get in the playoffs. But you don't see us jumping up and down and complaining and hanging national championship banners. Complaining and crying and hanging up national championship banners when they didn't even get in the playoffs.
I don't recall us hanging up a national championship banner. So you can fuck off. Like, seriously. No, I agree with the statement. Georgia was one of the top 4 teams in the country. Mm-hmm. They were, hands down. But guess what? They lost an important game at the wrong time, and they were out. And they accepted that. Kirby knew when he walked off the field against Alabama that he was out because he lost. We didn't lose in any of those rounds. Like, that's the difference. There's 10 years of BCS Final Four history to say that we belong there. And you all did some shady shit this past year. You will not be forgiven by me. And there's no excuse for it. You could try to be cute and throw shade around, but at the end of the day, you're just an asshole.
Mm. So this the extended, playoff teams, this is going to, you think this will completely eradicate the Florida State rule, if you will, or the issue from last season? Or do you think that this could happen again?
No, and let's be clear, the Florida State issue is going fucking undefeated for 13 games and winning your conference with 12 teams in the playoff. Yeah, that fixes it. That absolutely fixes it. You're never going to have a team in a major conference go 13-0, win the conference title, and not make it with 12 teams. Yeah. So yeah, you fixed it. Congratulations. A year
after the fact.
A year too late. Right. And I've said this before. They knew when they made that fraudulent decision last year.
Yeah, we were talking
that
about
this playoff was coming. And they knew that there's this bullshit narrative that you can feed that's like, well, it was a one-off. Now we're going to 12 teams. Florida State would easily be in, and and Georgia, for that matter, would have been in, and you get to change the whole thing. If you were going to screw somebody, circumstantially, last year, the last year of the 4-team format was the ideal time to do it, and they did.
Wow. I think I agree there.
You should. If you didn't, there'd be something wrong with you.
Oh man, we'll see who makes it. It's going to be very interesting because I want to see the back half of those 12 teams, like whatever, 8 to 12. See if a mid-major sneaks in there. I mean, for what that's worth. I'm talking about like a Notre Dame. I know mid-major is not the correct name, but like a Notre Dame or name some other. These. If TCU maybe with 2 losses or something like that, one of those.
You look at, any team out of that Big 12 at this point.
Yeah.
Would fall into that category.
Yeah.
I don't really care so much about that.
About what, 8 to 12?
Yeah. What matters about 8 to 12 or even 6 to 12 is in this format, will any of those teams be able to make a run?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe get to the semifinal. Maybe get to a final. Like that's what would make this incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
So if you basically get 12 teams in there, and I guess the way you're going to go, you're going to go 5 to 12. I think the top 4 get essentially a first round bye.
Okay.
And so now you're playing like 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, 8-9.
Okay.
And so those games should have some relative parity. But if you end up, go 2-3 years into this and like a 9 seed or worse has never won a game in this format, they're effectively 0 for 12, then we're kind of like, all right, this isn't quite getting anything done.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
You can look at it that way. I look at it, there's a lot of teams are capable of a singular slip-off. But when you watch a whole season of college football, you tend to look at teams at levels.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that these 4, 5, 6 teams are at this kind of high level. And then, the next ones are kind of, you can tell there's just a measurable difference between that, when you're, and again, it's no secret. It's players. The teams that have a bunch of dudes that show out at the combine and get drafted are usually the best teams in college football, and that's the correlation. So it's like, if you're looking at, I don't know, maybe some years it's a 4-team level, some years maybe it's a 7-team level, where you've got those teams that are pretty damn loaded, a lot of NFL talent running around, well coached, have good systems, and they play at a really high level.
Yeah.
And then below that, for whatever reason, maybe the coaching's not there, maybe the coaching's there, but the talent's not, or maybe there's just an inconsistency of performance that keep those teams at a lower tier.
No, that's for sure. There's 2 things before we leave off this college football thing here. There's 2 things. There's things I'm liking about Florida Gators in this off season, if you will. But there's 2 things that I'm hating right now. Like every day I'm reading updates. So Cormani McClain, the guy that was with Colorado, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and then couldn't cut it with Deion. They got into it a lot of times, and so then he transferred out of there and came to Florida Gators. It's been like a bunch of reports. He's showing up to practice late and workouts, and he's getting into it with his position coach and this and that. It's like you just can't be an idiot. And there was a false report that he was cut from the team. The head coach actually today just had to come out and dispel those rumors.
Oh, really? I thought he was removed from the roster. No.
No, right. So that was like a thing that was trending on Twitter. Yeah. And no, he just came out a couple of hours ago and dispelled those rumors. And what he said was the rumors are being blown out of proportion a little bit. So that means there is some truth to it, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's all that means.
There's a problem.
There is a problem.
We haven't yet removed him from the roster.
And you just can't be that big of a effing idiot. You just can't, man. You've already screwed up at the last place. You're going to end up at a fucking JUCO or something. You know, that's the first thing.
No, I again, you know, like you put 5 stars on a guy's name and these sort of things. It's like some guys just are not built for this.
Yeah.
And they get exposed and they don't have the structure in their life or the mentality to have the discipline to get all they can out of their talent. On some level, it's sad, but on another level, it just is what it is. And if this guy, you know, ran himself out of Colorado, he's given a second chance, and if you're not showing significant progress, the time people are going to wait on you to come around gets shorter at every stop.
I mean, so much shorter.
You know,
so much shorter, man.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to matter in the end. I say this. I talk about, you know, my guy all the time, Keith Brumbaugh. You know, he got kicked out of 2 Division I schools, but he had so much talent. You know, he got kicked out of 2 Division I schools, ended up at the JUCO, and guess what? He did destroy the JUCO, broke records, averaged like 45 a game. You can look it up. It was crazy. But even though he destroyed JUCO like that, being kicked out of those 2 Division I schools, it just left such a big stain when it's time to try the professional route and go to the NBA. You got such a big stain on you, man. It's you know, second stop, it's time to stop messing and bull jiving around. That's the first thing is Cormani. The second thing is this quarterback battle. I just hate when you got the new blood, new talent, 5-star quarterback in town, freshman year, and you want to push this older guy out there because he's whatever 4th, 5th year senior, and because he has, you know, whatever seniority, and he's okay. You know, he's solid, but I don't want solid. I want dynamic. We've been sorry for too long. Leave solid as a backup. If dynamic gets hurt, then you let solid come in and frolic around. But with
solid doesn't frolic.
But if you want, you know, jobs are on the line this year. You know what I mean? Like, jobs are on the line. Why do you want to put your fate in the hands of solid?
Yeah.
Like, just why? And then by the time you go 3 and 4 to start the season, then you're gonna go to dynamic. It's too fucking late. Yeah. And we've been down this road before. I don't understand it, but whatever. We'll see if that play out.
People are really like most people are inherently conservative.
Yeah.
And I think like a guy like that looks at this, and we're talking about Billy Napier.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, Graham Mertz played pretty well last year. He wasn't necessarily the reason we were not great. And so it's like I can roll him out, and if he flounders, then I've got this in my back pocket.
Yeah.
You know, and then I can save the day with that. But if you roll out the young guy and it goes badly, you know, he may break.
Yeah.
You may break his confidence, and then you're kind of rolling Graham Mertz out, and you don't have anything to sell the future at that point. If Graham Mertz doesn't come in and get you to like a decent level bowl, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Because now there's this broken quarterback that we all thought was going to be great.
Yeah.
And now, like, there's big questions. He couldn't beat out Graham Mertz. Like, really bad when we saw him. So, like, the easy, conservative, safe play is, you know, we start Graham Mertz and then we unleash the DJ as this goes along. Even if the season goes bad, you know, even if you're 2-6 at one point, and then you pivot to DJ, and you again. If he plays great, fantastic. If he doesn't play great, you hope to see at least flashes, and you sell the future. It's like, yeah, we started 2-6, we finished 5-8, and we actually pretty good. DJ's clearly the guy, and we can sell that to save my job.
That won't work, Billy.
It probably won't.
Now,
but I think people, there's a conservative bias.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Decisions.
When you broke that down, that makes a ton of sense, and I'm sure we've seen that throughout the history of football. That makes a ton of sense, but that's not going to work, Billy. In this case, it just won't. It's not going to cut the cake, man. All right, we need a huge knife to cut this cake.
Now, I mean, are there? And this is I don't like not getting good information on this. I mean, is there seemingly reliable information on how DJ and Graham are performing in Gator circles.
And this is how I know DJ is performing well, because there isn't much, right? So you'll get the occasional, DJ and Graham are working well together throughout this off season, and Graham is, teaching him the ropes and things like that. Right. But you don't like if DJ was performing really bad, you would hear that everywhere. Like you just would. People, love that, and I'm sure Graham isn't, performing. And in the spring game. They both played well. DJ was dynamic, as the term is said, and Graham was okay. He was solid, and that's just how I'm sure that's how this whole thing is been playing out.
Yeah. I get frustrated because it's like I remember Jameis started as a redshirt freshman.
Okay.
And so his breakout was the spring game after his redshirt freshman year.
Yeah.
And then people like the guy that was a part-time starter transferred out after the spring game because
he knew. Yeah.
But people had to have known. They just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
During the fall, they had to know we got the guy.
Yeah, just didn't talk about it.
That
That's
stuff
what's
is
happening
so
here.
frustrating to me. Go back to Alabama. When Tua, and you got Jalen Hurts. It's after Tua comes and saves the day in the title game, people are talking about, in practice he was really good, whatever. Dude, who's not reporting stuff in practice?
You know what's funny right now today? Who do you take, Tua or Jalen? Aren't they still
Yeah. For different reasons.
But still, that's crazy.
If Tua had Jalen's durability, it's not a contest.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But he doesn't, and you can't run away from that.
No, Jalen's there every week.
Yeah, I mean he is there every week, so it is funny.
No, it is. I just thought about that. Because you had that whole situation at Alabama, and then Jalen had to leave, and you think that Tua beat him out, and Tua's the better man, and then you look at it years later, and you still really can't decipher.
Well, and I was not a Jalen Hurts fan at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he made some noticeable improvements at Oklahoma as a passer, which he needed to make. And no matter how his career plays out, from the way he threw a football at Alabama to what he's done already as a pro, it's not comparable. I have a tremendous and always will have a tremendous amount of respect for him for getting to the level that he did. Because at Alabama, there was no sign, in my opinion, that he would ever get to the level that he's been so far as an NFL player.
Wow.
There's no way. I did not think he was even a roster consideration. I mean, he was like a bad Tim Tebow. As a pro.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I thought Tim Tebow had the whole cult hero thing and whatever, and maybe that's why he got drafted and got some stars.
That
at
is
one
why,
point.
not maybe.
But Hurts didn't have that.
No.
But he worked his way through it, and credit to him.
No, for sure. All right, once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. All righty. Really quick, I'm wearing a shirt here from this guy. His name is Ballhead James. Okay. Yeah, Ballhead James. Ballhead James is one of the coldest, one of the best, a video cameraman on the Caribbean scene, but I'm sure he does other work as well. But you'll see him at all of these Juves and all of these carnivals and things like that. And it's funny because every time I see him, it's so much, but it's not like we never hung out or anything. But he's such a cool dude. He does a lot of great work. Ballhead James is on all social media networks. All right.
Shout out. Is that his handle, Ballhead James?
Yeah, Ballhead James, man. that's you can't miss that. All right. Now let's move it along here. We'll get to some basketball. Let's move this along to some basketball. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's do some entertainment, funny stuff here.
For sure. And
then we'll move it along to basketball. All right. So, where do I want to go first? Let's go here. We'll go this to Tyler Perry. All right. TP. So Tyler Perry comes out with this new movie, Divorce the Black. Now, Tyler Perry has a way of he's a lightning rod for the black community and for conversation. All right, because these movies, these TV shows back in the day when he did the drama plays, they all depict like these, certain narratives, if you will. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this this thing that went trending on social media here. And this is what this lady Sarah had to say about this. Okay. The spell that Tyler Perry has on y'all must be something serious, because that movie was trash. Talking about Divorcing the Black. Same old tired trauma filled with struggle, love story with a different cast. You mean to tell me that girl was educated, came from 2-parent household that displayed what a healthy relationship looks like, but she chose to marry an abusive thug and stuck right beside him for years? That man clearly thinks that man clearly thinks the lowest of the black woman. Actually, black people as a whole. He stay feeding y'all with the same BS stories. Y'all eat it up every time. Y'all celebrate and identify with trauma, the struggle, love, domestic abuse, and thug life.
Okay.
Now, here's my take on that.
Shout out to Tupac.
There you go. Thug life. Here's my take on that, man. I didn't watch this movie because I don't really like Tyler Perry movies. I'm not going to break my neck to go see it. If the girl I'm with want to watch it, I'll go to the other room. I'm just not interested in these Tyler Perry movies. It's not that, and I don't have anything bad to say about them. This is just not my type of movies. Like, movies and shows have been being made for a long ass time. And like I didn't like MASH. MASH was a huge show when I was growing up. I didn't like MASH. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to get so like. There's this one thing, and at the end of her post, she says, "Y'all say white people do all the time, but it's true. Like in these white scary movies, these horror films, right? If you was to go out and poll 1,000 black people in random cities, states, or whatever, and you say, okay, there's this white horror film, right? And there's 50 white people in this movie. There's one black person, okay, and there's one Asian person. 50 white, one black, one Asian. Who dies first? Every black person you poll is going to tell you that black person is going to die first in this movie. Yeah. Now, if you do that same poll and you ask white people, they're gonna say, oh well, the chances are if you have 50 white people, the odds are it's going to be a white person that dies first. Like they're unaware of this thing that goes on in every white horror film. And if you put me, with my 2 bad knees and bad ankle and bad back, and you put me with 50 white people, and I'm in a real life scary horror film, I'm not dying first. I'm gonna tell you that right. One of them white folks is dying first. I'm not dying first, man. So don't give me the bad narratives and things like that. If those are the type of movies that he's making, and people are going out and watching these films and they're going to the movies and they're paying their money and this and that over the course of time. Now this one has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes already and things like that. So this one may not have hit, but in the past.
I guess like I've watched a lot of Tyler Perry movies. I think when he had like kind of the Medea stuff going on, like it was at the time, it was a little novel. A lot of those movies were, to me, kind of lighter and kind of like
more comedy,
more family oriented,
family
comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of his niche. They weren't super deep or any of that. But then somewhere along the way, I think he kind of lost the plot, retired the Medea character, and I know that can't go on forever. I'm not wanting it to, but like. Now he just has these, like trauma-based things, but like the stories are weak, the characters are shallow. They kind of rely on some kind of like trite, stereotypical behaviors, and they're just not really entertaining.
Yeah.
And there's no comedy in most of his more recent work.
No. And you know what?
Giving us?
I did watch Mea Culpa, I think that's the name. I did watch that.
Yeah.
And then same things, like you said, it was more serious. It was more like this one, I'm assuming. Yeah. Everything you just named. Yeah.
And he's also a guy that like from a production standpoint, like, and what I mean by that is like your photography, your scenes, your props, they're always very cheap.
Yeah, from a cinematic point of view.
Like you're not getting like really good cinematography or just compelling stuff that's just visually appealing to watch, that you get in other types of movies. And so, I just, I think he's kind of run his course, and he should just kind of step back from this. And you would think like you're sitting on like 0 Rotten Tomatoes or whatever right now. Like as a professional, does that not bother you?
That has to be like Bronny going 0 for 20 in the 3-point and something. You got to feel some type of way. Yeah, that has to be what it feels like.
If you are a professional, if you care about what you do, that has to bother you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, like you literally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like you're a movie maker, a producer, and people think your work sucks. Yeah. And they're probably right. And for you to not care, like that's pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's a good point that you bring it up, because if he keeps churning these movies out, that's kind of what that means.
Yeah, like what evidence do we have that this is bothering him?
Yeah.
What? Step away for a couple years, do something. I mean, like even just as an artist, like go to something completely different, and invest a couple years in developing that, and come at with us something that takes our breath away.
Yeah, because and to a certain extent, that's kind of what he did moving into this, but it's not working, right? Because he went. I'm not talking about the time taken to him. I'm saying he went from the lighthearted family comedy stuff to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So either you pivot back to what you were doing before and just do a better version of that, or like you said, take some time off and give us something fresh, new, different.
But again, get away from the cheap cinematography. Like get the money together, do something like tell a great story, do something really visual and creative and arty, and impress us. Like, make us, you look at a guy like, you look at like the career of like Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he even like as he's basically dead, he's still like produced like some really interesting, well-crafted films, and it's like, give us something, man.
Who's my guy? Who's that guy that had? Damn, what's that movie called? Get that off that nag. That had Samuel L. Jackson in there acting a fool. And it had Jamie Foxx and no. You know what I'm talking about. And he had Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx as the main character. It was like.
You're talking about Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Django.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino is the guy I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Like his work is just, it's.
Well, I mean, he's in a whole nother space.
Yeah. He's
his movies are just very uniquely him.
Yeah, he's outside of the box
for sure. No,
but still,
sure.
yeah.
But I mean, and what I'm kind of saying is like Tyler Perry could defend himself by saying, "Hey, I this is my niche. This is what I do."
Yeah.
Much in the way that Quentin Tarantino does, but like to me, you got to restore your credibility as a director, as a producer, and do something really good. He just cranks out crap at like a rate. Like he's got all these half-assed TV shows that are just, like poorly acted and not intriguing. And it just take a step forward and be like, man, I got to create something that's worth a damn.
Yeah. I used to like the plays. Ray back in the day.
That's kind of where he started
out.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I don't know. They were interesting.
They're too
entertaining.
They're too confining to me. But I think he shoots his movies like they're plays.
Yeah.
Like all the scenes are like just low budget, like sitcom level stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't see anything that's visually appealing.
And even though I agree with you on that, it's funny because he's invested so much money into that in the studios that up there in Atlanta. Like he has his own fucking studios. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy in itself. And for the product to come out like that, it is.
But that's typical of a studio.
Yeah.
Like what do? You have this studio and you can shift this, that, and the other thing, but you're still basically in the same spaces.
Yeah.
Like what I'm talking about is like you do something where you go. Like we mentioned Yellowstone before. You go out to somewhere and shoot something that's just that's different, or you do a movie in a city and you kind of capture the vibe of a city while you're telling a story, like the aesthetics and all that.
Yeah.
But like everything to him, it literally feels like, I just shot this in my studio.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like sitcoms are shot in studios, man.
Yeah.
Films need to be out where the people are, man.
Gotcha. All right, here. I thought that was good.
Much better than his movie.
Moving along here to something that may get you a little riled up. We have both presidents, man, seemingly under attack. One was literally attacked in Trump. All righty, and was
allegedly
close miss shot. And at the bottom here, I have the shooter, Thomas here. With the day of, he told his boss he needed a day off before the Trump shooting. He said he'll be back the next day. Unfortunately, he didn't make it back, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Okay, I'm not on either side here. And I just thought that was kind of interesting and a tiny bit funny there, you have to admit. All righty. And then on the top there, I have this guy, Gaston County. I want to say that's Alabama. He was arrested because he was threatening to kill Biden. Okay, he's facing 3 federal charges and is accused of making comments threatening the U.S. president. Now, I'm on the side of, we could talk about this in all different kind of ways, but just my initial thought is, if you might as well be the bottom guy and make an attempt to do it. If you're gonna, because facing 3 federal charges, I don't know what the time he's facing, but you might as well have just shut your mouth and if you're gonna do something, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, be a man of action, not words.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Yeah, because just saying something and in front of him. That's yeah.
I mean, you end up getting charged with heavy crimes, and all you did was run your mouth. I mean, at least be about that action.
It'd be interesting. I do want to watch it and see like how long he gets for that, because I'm curious. I'm very curious. Is there a president set for that?
I do not know. I would imagine there is, but I'm not aware of it specifically.
Okay.
I mean, we've had multiple assassination attempts, couple successful, so there is a precedent for, trying to kill the president or succeeding in it. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
What like I called you after the what was your initial, when you heard about it? Were you at the museum? You were at the
No. I was
I
was at the airport. I was eating a burger in this place in the airport, and there's a Sam Cooke Soul Stirrers song where he just sings the word joy, joy, joy over and over again.
But how did you hear of the news? Like
it was on
your
TV.
phone?
No. There was 2 TVs. There was a soccer game, and then there was like news. And it just kind of came up that, whatever president's been taken off a stage with, alleged gunfire or whatever. And then, kind of followed that, he's seen with his ear bleeding and whatever. So that was that.
Some people thought it was staged.
I think it is.
You think it is?
Yeah.
No, I mean, so you think it's staged as in set up but not fake? Some people, and then because you have some people also in the fake camp, like it didn't happen. But do you mean like I understand staged meaning like it was set up to happen that way?
This guy is a Republican.
The Thomas guy.
Yeah. He's a Republican. He's in basically like a Republican
area
stronghold of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
There was people saw him on the roof. Nobody took any action. Trump looks in his direction moments before the shots fired. Half the people behind the stage didn't react. It's a joke.
Is this guy like a sharp shooter?
Hell no.
So it could have killed him.
Not sharp enough.
No, I'm saying, but if it's really staged, if this guy's not a trained shooter, why pick him? Because what if it doesn't hit his ear and it fucking hits his eye?
I'm not convinced it hit his ear.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did it at the end of the day? Okay, think about this strategically. What did this give him?
What? That is a question that I have because I don't know.
It gave him that photo op. It gave him the thing when he puts his hand up. It gave him that image for his miserable followers. That's an iconic image for those people.
Yeah.
That's what it gave him. It gave him this thing that he's
resilient
and tough and this, that, and the other thing. it also signaled this retribution, open season on the other side. And his group of people, like our guy Willie said this, like they're far more gun-oriented and violent inclined than the Democratic base, for sure. So, I mean,
100%.
he got everything he wanted out of this.
Yeah.
Take that what you will. I didn't what I wanted out of it.
I didn't. I didn't think of it from that standpoint. That is interesting.
Of course, they kill the guy.
So all right,
they don't take him into custody. Treat him like a black guy.
but okay. So what about that? What about
Lee Harvey Oswald?
What, you think that was staged too?
No, you kill the guy so he can't say anything. If he's a patsy or whatever, you kill him. There's no story to tell. Like Lee Harvey Oswald, allegedly shot JFK by himself. A day or two later, he's shot in a parking lot under the courthouse. Yeah. And he's never been able to speak for himself. Yeah. Like, that's it. He was interrogated for like 26 hours. Those things have been quashed and removed or not available, disappeared, and then he's killed. So, like, whether he worked alone, whether he worked with others, whether he was set up to appear to have done it, his story's never told. And that's why you have to kill this guy. You're not taking him into custody.
Okay. Do you think he knows this was going to be a suicide mission?
Look at this guy. You think he knows where his own ass is? Like, look at this guy. If his IQ is higher than 75,
you'd be shocked.
I'd be beyond shocked. Beyond shocked. I'd also call bullshit.
Yeah, but that's to your point. That's what I'm saying. He said he told his boss he just needed one day off. He'd be back.
What is that? It's like, but again, that's a headline. What does that mean? Yeah, I need a day off. Yeah, who cares? That doesn't tell us anything. Yeah, that's not, anything. I mean, you again, he's a Republican guy. He had like Trump crap at his house. Like, what's going on here? I mean, is there? We're what are we? 3 days post incident now. Where is any evidence that he had some like falling out with the Trump ideology? Yeah, you're a registered Republican in a Trump hotbed, and you've got Trump crap at your house, and you randomly decide to take a shot at it.
2024, you would have some type of social media, some tweets, some text messages, somebody that knows him, that knows he was a Trump hater. There would be something. Would be something.
Or there would be even to the point that he was all Trump, and then this happened.
Yeah, that made
and then whatever, he lost his insurance and what There's always in a typical course to violence, particularly pseudo random violence, like an assassination attempt, a school shooting, a public shooting. There's always tipping points and things that break in the person that precipitate the event. Yeah, and we're getting none of that right now.
No, that's for sure. All right, from one white guy to the next, we got Skip Bayless here, man.
Why don't we say from one old useless white guy to another old useless white guy?
Skip Bayless leaving FS1. His last show will be later this summer.
Long overdue. No, I mean, again, he's a guy that, there might have been a time 20 or 30 years ago when he was an old school sports reporter type guy who might have wrote some decent articles and got a little cachet as a TV guy and whatever. But for the last several years, decade or more, he's been an annoying shtick guy with a tired routine who has basically associated himself to younger, accomplished black people to stay relevant.
1,000%. But I do have a little more love for Skip Bayless, for lack of a better term, because he did grandfather. He originated the debate game. And it was very entertaining when he first kind of popped up on the scene there on ESPN, okay? And he has engineered some careers with Stephen A. Smith and of course Shannon Sharp and others, like a lot of others. he Chris Broussard, a lot of these guys, right? And during his time, in his heyday, Skip Bayless was on top of the game and it needed to be. But he's just stuck around too long. Now, he stuck around too long for our liking. But if they're going to pay you, you stick around as long as they'll pay you. You know what I mean? So I understand that.
Get the bad guy.
Yeah, I understand that. He's giving you $32 million over there. He's getting paid, like Tobias Harris over there. So I understand that. But and also not only the money, it's the control. Just like Stephen A. Smith now controls ESPN in a lot of respect, Skip Bayless controlled FS1. Like, everything he said goes.
Yeah, you're the big lead guy.
He was the big lead guy.
Power is addicting.
Yeah.
And when you are like the guy and you're making the big money and you have that influence across the platform or through your network and stuff like that, that's hard to put down.
Yeah.
That's hard to let go of. If you step away from that, like, what do you have? How comfortable are you with yourself? And not everybody's built like that because it becomes intoxicating. There could have been a point early in his life before, he reached a certain level of success where he, man, if I get another 10 years out of this and make some decent money, I want to go, ride horses in Kansas or something. I don't know. Or
right.
Go fishing. But then you kind of get into the Shark Tank and you're the great white for a long time. Like, that becomes addicting. You get addicted. There's a buzz. There's a high to being that dude every day.
Now, what had to be his undoing was the Shannon Sharp situation. And he just had to know that at the time. They were really competing, and FS1 is not supposed to compete with ESPN because ESPN is the flagship. That's what everybody knows. When they think sports, if I want to hear sports news, if I want to check sports scores, and I want to do it on TV.
It's your first frame of reference.
You're going to ESPN.
Yeah.
And when Shannon Sharp was on Undisputed, that's the best. He's been with FS1 now for 8 to 9 years, 9 to 10 years or whatever. That is the best ratings that he had, is the Shannon Sharp era. All right. And they were averaging like right around 500,000 views an episode. And that's really fucking good for FS1. All right. Now, to give you a frame of reference, now they're doing like 40,000.
Yeah.
500,000 views a show, 500,000 to 40,000 with post Shannon Sharp. Now, and the reason why I say he had to know that would be in his undoing is because, before Shannon, you have all of these different casts of characters that they would try to pair with Skip that was just not entertaining enough. And they went through a ton of them. Yeah. The only one that stuck a little bit was the Chris Carter thing. They did well with him, but Chris is he's a little aloof on TV, outside of TV, so that's why he couldn't keep that job. But everybody else was just not entertaining enough to hold that seat and keep people eyeballs there. And Skip is no longer that big of a draw because they know it's LeBron James slander and it's Tom Brady nut sucking. And that's what he does, and that's his stick, and that's been his stick.
You said it in slow motion. Nut sucking.
And that's been his stick for forever now.
But see, a couple things there. Shannon Sharp is really, really good.
Yeah.
The whole Unk character and his whole persona is top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's compelling. Very few people touch that as far as like a consistent persona.
So you have to see that in real time.
Right. But what happens is you're not as sharp as you once were. And again, you fall into this like shtick based stuff where you're not being original anymore. You're not reacting and living to news and creating content as it arises. You're falling on these tired storylines. Mm-hmm. And you're also getting really comfortable with Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think he got too comfortable with him. And I mean this on a personal level.
Yeah.
That he would say things that were just over the line.
Yeah.
And I think it caused a legitimate friction between the two guys. And again, if you push a guy hard enough, he's got a breaking point. It's like, I don't care what the money is. I'm not putting up with this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of where that went.
No, yeah, for sure. And then lastly, and you mentioned it briefly there, it's just once Shannon left, like Skip was just in sheer desperation mode.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Lil Wayne thing, and not just Lil Wayne. You're bringing on like the lowest guys on Lil Wayne's music group with Yella Beezy and this other guy. Like nobody even listens to their music. Why do we want to hear a rapper's take that nobody listens to on this show? Like, you know, we really don't want to hear Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper of all time. I don't care what he has to say about sports. I just don't. I'm not tuning in for him.
But what I thought at the time that Shannon Sharpe left, like from a perception standpoint, like not who owns the show or who gets paid more. Like to me, Shannon was the bigger part of the show.
Yeah, especially at that point.
But basically because Skip actually more or less owned the show,
yeah,
he was the guy that you know, like basically Shannon had to leave.
Yeah.
And once he left, like what other person of high quality is going to step in that seat after what he did with Shannon?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Like you treated somebody in a bad way that was very valuable to you. And who in their right mind is going to jump at the opportunity to be next in line for that?
And even though Skip is what he is, he's the grandfather of debates, and he was number one on your network, FS1, you needed to be the Green Bay Packers at this time. At that point when they had the friction and Shannon had to go, you should have chose Shannon. You should have chose Shannon.
Yeah.
You saw the numbers before Shannon, okay? You see what the social media is all over Shannon, and he's the new wave. You should have chose Shannon. Now you're screwed because Shannon's left and he's had such an immense, crazy success. Skip failed, and Skip is your flagship. Now he's out of there. Now what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? There is no other Shannon right now on the horizon. They have a solid show with Nick Wright, and that has to be the guy now. And maybe what they do is they just bring his whole show and just erase Undisputed. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's probably what they do.
Yeah.
But there is no other Shannon. You should have just said, "Hey, Skip, we'll pay you the rest of your contract. We love you. Have a great rest of your life and career."
Right.
Shannon, it's your time. Do what you want to do here.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, probably if you really analyze it, maybe some of the stuff that Skip said to Shannon was out of jealousy.
Yeah.
Was out of this thing that he felt threatened by a guy that was just a bigger personality, that was just more popular and just more well-liked.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, Shannon Sharpe, I mean, he's a pretty incredible story, pretty incredible persona that he has. I mean, there's not another like guys like him.
No.
He's just a different cat, and it works for him. I will say this though, to be honest, like I don't like him like interviewing a bunch of non-sports people. I think he does get out of his depth in some of the interviews he tries to do, and I think he gets a little bit exposed in that area.
Yeah. I mean, right now with that thing there, he has a specific thing he's trying to do, which is I don't want to say create drama, but he's given those people a space to create drama, and it's almost it's becoming a Tyler Perry shtick now, to where it's like we know what's going on here.
Right, and I think it's eating him up.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. He's created a drama platform that is really becomes about the drama creating guest, and he's just a passenger to his own show.
Yeah.
He's not driving his own show. He's basically losing his own relevance.
Yeah.
And again, it's gonna who can we have on now to say negative things about other people in the industry or whatever. And and again, it's like trendy now because again, you have this stuff with Diddy and some others where it's just popular to come out and have an issue with somebody or try to expose some information about him. But at some point it gets tired, and he's because he's not necessarily like comfortable engaging with a lot of his guests, and he has a very low spectrum that he can deal with them with, he's losing the show to them.
Yeah.
And that's not good for the longevity of his career.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, want to give a quick shout out here to Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code BubbaPink and be fresh in the summer. All right, and also school is coming back around. All right, so get you some school clothes here as well at a discount.
Oh, school.
All right. TBT, the basketball tournament. Now, this first round I saw is going to be on the website, and I think it's the second and third from there on.
Okay.
They come to the second round, they come to ESPN2, and then the third round championships and all that stuff is on ESPN.
So wait, you're saying the game Friday is not on?
It won't be on ESPN Network, no.
Really? Not on the app?
It may be on the app, ESPN Plus and the app, but not ESPN1 or ESPN2. It will not be.
I got the app. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we said at the top of the show, okay, of the Florida TNT team, who has been in this tournament here several times. They are an Orlando-based team here. They're going to come back to the Florida TBT to win this $1 million. All right, and in case you can't see the names that good on the screen, we have Antonio Blakeney, who has played in the NBA, and he played at Oak Ridge. Okay, here in Orlando. He's coming back. They have B-Rob, Brandon Robinson, Kenneth Boynton, Keith Clanton, UCF.
OCP to UCF.
OCP to UCF. Chris Warren, he's an Orlando legend.
Dr. Phillips, Ole Miss, many years overseas. Played with Wemby in France.
Now, that I did not know.
Yes.
You've been holding that from me.
No.
You have.
Terry said it on the show last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I learned it from him on this show.
I need to retain information. Jason Burnell, okay. He's another dynamic player there.
Forget about TNT. You might have CTE.
My head getting knocked on the headboard.
Yeah. Oh, God. Please stop.
I thought they would like that one.
Oh, God. I didn't. Your head getting knocked on the headboard.
Niven Glover.
That's my guy.
Yes.
Another Oak Ridge legend.
Another Oak Ridge legend, man.
Tearing it up in the Far East these days.
Yeah, man. He can fill it up for sure. And then you got Shaheed Davis, Michael Forrest, who Big Man has told us about. He's a dynamic guard, he says.
From South Florida, plays with OP Elite. They won at the Bay Area Showdown a couple weeks ago over in Tampa.
Yep. And then Quincy Ford. You said you're somewhat familiar with Quincy, right?
Yeah, Quincy Ford. I think he's based in the Tampa area, but a good friend of our boy KP, who's a guest of the show in the past.
Yeah. And then Christopher Walker, Samuel Daniel, Ikion Smith, and then Chris Galbraith Jr.
So yeah, the team has been in it. Last year they won a game, lost a game. They've gone as far as, I believe, the Final Four or final game. They're veterans at this tournament. They expect to achieve each year, and they open up against the LA Cheaters, obviously a West Coast-based team. Florida TNT is going to be the higher seed, the favorite to win. They'll be playing in Utah or out of Wichita, Kansas, on Friday night. I believe the game's at 7. Hopefully available through the ESPN app. But good dudes, great team to watch. Some really good people here in Central Florida associated with them. And we had them on the show last year. We may have them if they get through the first weekend. We've talked about getting them in on the show and maybe talking about their success, and we hope to do that.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Definitely rooting for these guys. Once they start playing these games, we'll have more to report on and talk about these games, and hopefully they have a long run. And so we'll be talking about them throughout the weeks here. All right. So apparently, Caitlin Clark has broke the WNBA record for most assists in the game, 24 and 19. And she has
19 assists.
Yeah, 19 assists. All right, so that she has broke the WNBA record for most assists in the game. All righty, and she has she's been coming on as of late. Okay, so this did come in a losing effort. Okay, that's what they're saying here. The Dallas Wings beat Caitlin Clark in the Fever. All righty, but 24 and 19. That's a big stat line there.
She's female Scott Skiles.
What Scott was like, what, 22?
He had 30 assists in an NBA game.
That's still the record.
I think it is. Yeah.
I'm not even able to beat that on the video game, man.
You're not much of a passer, Bubba. I don't recall like a single pass you ever made.
Don't do that. I pass.
No. I mean, like, not that you're like unwilling to pass, but you don't have like a signature pass.
Right.
Like, I remember that great assist Bubba had.
My plan is to throw an alley hoop to Tim in this GM5, so we'll see.
Okay.
All right. So now the Fever are 11 and 14. The last time we spoke a couple of weeks ago, they were 9. They had 9 games, so they won 2 games in a couple of weeks here. So they're trending upwards.
Game a week. Whoa.
Game a week.
I won on Sunday and Tuesday.
But one thing I would say about it though is a couple of weeks ago when we spoke about it, I was more so on the Angel side, saying that she still deserves Rookie of the Year. You were saying it probably has to be Caitlin at that point, right? And now it just has to be Caitlin.
On the trend.
Yeah.
Because Angel started well and has been relatively consistent. Caitlin had a lot of like well-documented struggles early, but has really kind of settled in and playing some good basketball. Now you set a league record midway through your rookie year. It'll be tough to overcome that.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough.
And there's a part, there's a part of sports that, it is about adversity. And people appreciate and respect, like, the journey through adversity. So for things to not necessarily start out great and for her to kind of keep coming and playing through all that, that's a credit to her. And it's also something that I think is going to resonate with voters for Rookie of the Year and those sort of achievements.
No, that's for sure. Now, so Angel Reese, she had that stretch going of most consecutive double doubles and all of that, and then the game came where she had 8 points and 12 rebounds or something, and they were losing by a lot of points though. And the last couple of seconds, they were trying so hard. She was trying so hard to get the ball and get a bucket, and of course, just to get this double-double streak alive. Now, we've seen that in the NBA, so that's not like something that's not done. We've seen guys go out of their way to get a certain stat or whatever. But that was just terrible. That's a bad look. It is. It's just a bad look.
Yeah.
And the other team, credit to the other team. It was like 3 or 4 people on there. They were not going to let her get that double-double.
Get the cheap
yeah,
double,
like screw you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those things. When you force a statistical accomplishment, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It does sort of diminish what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because at some point, again, I'm out here not trying to win or lose. We've already lost. I'm only out here to get, an extra basket to preserve a streak. I mean, in all seriousness, and there's a lot. I mean, a lot of times, like just sit out, just sit down. Like, game's out of hand. I'm just going to go to the bench. My night's over. Like, whatever. We lost the game. I'm not going to feel great about myself because I preserved my double-double streak.
Exactly.
I had an 8-12 night. It happens. We lost. We didn't play well enough.
That's it. Now we're about to move on to the summer league talk, but Angel and this other girl, they were with Jaylen Brown at the summer league. I don't know if you saw the picture or video.
Yeah.
And Angel had the shorts on, and she was looking good. I've been on the train. I like Angel. Now, there's been a couple people that have hit me in my inbox and told me I'm crazy, that she doesn't look good. But every time I see her, she's looking better and better. And then she got the booty shorts on. What do you want me to do here? And But
she probably wants you to do nothing further. But no, I think I think she's an attractive girl. I mean, especially when she dresses up in that, like in the bikinis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have noted, like, I've seen clips of her like running on the court, and she's not really graceful.
No, yeah. Like, she's a giraffe on the court.
Yeah,
for right now.
Yeah.
We'll see if she grows into that.
She's not gonna stop.
But
I mean, you're 22 years old. You're not gonna change your running and movement. Like, come on, Bubba. Like, do you know nothing about athletics?
But look, man, she was there at the summer league with Jaylen Brown and this other girl, and then of course, it's 2024, man. You got these lip reading animals that just, if they can't hear any audio, they're looking at you. And Jaylen Brown was saying how they was telling the girls that Bronny is not an NBA prospect at all, but he's going to be on the Lakers anyway because of his name and this and that. And on the screen here, this is just an old tweet from LeBron that's been resurfacing today about when he was watching, like it was an off night for the Lakers, and he was watching like this League Pass, and he said, "Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats. I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious." Laughing at these guys that are on the Washington Wizards. Maybe he was watching some cats in Charlotte, and he was like, "Man, Bronny will kill these guys, man." And this is when Bronny was still at USC or whatever. And man, what a tough take, man. Yeah, man.
But this felt bad when he said it.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, like, because to me, what this actually echoed was like a LeVar Ball take.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let your kids play and be who they are, and then say stuff.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, when you're saying this in the public light, you're just putting more pressure on your own kid to live up to what you're saying. But I don't understand it. It just, there are things that do not need to be said.
Does every parent think their child is better than what they really are? Do you think Bryson
99%
think he's better in soccer than he probably is?
99% yes, but I'm also very critical personally. I am like, I do, like, I value what he does on the field. I watch it very closely. I think it translates, in a lot of ways. But I'm also very critical, and I tell him stuff that, like, I don't.
Yeah, I remember you telling
him
to be more aggressive.
Yeah,
this is that.
And that's why when he was he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he was taking this take about Bronny, and I was like swallowing vomit in my mouth. I'm like, dude, I've said this about you. Like, I literally, like, there was like situations where, like, we're playing and he won't even look at the goal. Like, he's looking to make a pass. And I'm like, you have to be a threat. You've got to do these things.
Yeah.
And, it's way more mature now. Like, we're able to have these discussions, I think, in a much better way. But, like, that's real. I think I've always been that way, though. And I think that it's the healthier way to be, But again, it's like, okay, like, for me to have a belief in my son in like a small circle of people, like, that's different than tweeting something that's going to be global.
No, for sure. It's seen by billions of people.
And that's the thing. I think it just puts an unnecessary level of pressure. But the lip reading thing is funny because, and I noticed it first in soccer, but it's in other sports too. It's like when dudes are like post games and stuff like that, you'll always see guys walking off the field like this.
Yeah.
And they're always doing this.
NBA.
And I always found it annoying.
Yeah.
But like the reality is, this is why.
Yeah.
If you don't do the cover move, you've got some guy reading lips and translating what you're saying. And again, things are taken, like, things can be taken out of context, meaning you're saying one thing, but it's distorted, or things can just be blown out of proportion, which I agree. I mean, like, what Jaylen Brown said is a valid opinion on what Bronny's showing us.
Yeah. But
it's blown out, like, in a different way. It's distorted, because of the setting in which he said it in and who he is and all this other stuff, it's all goofy.
No, it really is. It really is. And really quick, Kobe is saying that Angel is a 6.7 out of 10. He's been one of the guys in my inbox telling me that Angel doesn't look that good. Yeah. And then Ray is saying that.
What do you rate her as?
Oh, she's an 8.5 for me.
An 8.5.
Yeah.
You and Kobe are both big on the decimal points. I've always been more of a flat number guy in the 10 scale.
No, you gotta give it.
Goes both with the decimal points.
And then Ray is saying that LeBron definitely did what he was supposed to do, which of course, I'm guessing forcing him into the NBA. That's fine. If you could do it, do it. But one thing about it, I'm happy. I'm happy that I was able to see a prospect and know what he was going to be. Because it's for me, it's really not that hard. It's not extremely hard. Like, I knew.
Are you talking about Bronny? Or
Yeah,
else?
Bronny. I knew Bronny. It was not an NBA player. It's like, when they tell me, when you say a guy can play defense, and that's going to be his calling card, and that's the reason why he's going to be NBA. And I love defense. That's one thing I do love. And then you tell me Drew Holiday, you tell me Pat Bev, you tell me all these guys. Number one, he's smaller than all of those guys. Rookie year, and they're saying that Drew Holiday has similar stats to him in college, but rookie year, Drew guarded 1 through 3 because he's 6'4", he's athletic, and he has all of the right defensive instincts. All right? Like, he can guard 1 through 3. Bronny can only guard point guards, and I don't think he can effectively guard. He's not guarding these guys in there. Like, for example, he had the one stat line where he had 2 steals and 3 blocks, or the reverse, right? And they said, this guy's, it's a great defensive game. But no, not really. I watched that game. I think general stats were created so novices could follow the game, right? Like, for me, yes, it's good that Wemby, he averaged 3 blocks, 4 blocks a game, and that's a large number. But that's not the number for Wemby. The number is, look at how many shots he's altering. Look at his the field goal percentage when he's in the area. Look at the shots that he can contest from the paint to the 3-point line. You know what I mean? For Drew Holiday, it's effective field goal percentage for guards that he's guarding. Like, things like that. It's not steals, blocks that are going to determine whether you're a good defensive player or not. Because these guards are doing whatever they want to do on Bronny in these games. He's not stopping anybody. He's not getting stops, like, on top of stops. You know what I mean? So, watching that and be able to discern that is important. Now, I think he's a better shooter than what he has been shooting. The problem is, and everybody's saying, oh, well, he's nervous or he's in his head or whatever. That's the NBA. And if you can't find your way out of a shooting slump in the summer league, what in the hell how do you think he's going to find his way out of the shooting slump against Boston Celtics, against the fucking Dallas Mavericks? Like, he's not ever. You know what I mean? Ben Simmons has been in a 4-year slump where he won't take a shot because he missed a couple. His rookie year, second year. Like, you don't come out of those slumps if you're not a confident player. Like, and then now they're saying, like, this guy Sarr, right? This guy Sarr from Washington Wizards.
He dropped a stinker, man.
He's been off to a rough start. Not only in the summer league, but in practices and everything as well. And he was a number 2 pick. They're like, look at Sarr. But the difference between Sarr and Bronny is Sarr is what? 7 foot tall, and he's athletic and he can run. Like, they're going to take Greek Freak when he came over. The Greek Freak was far from a polished. He wasn't polished at all. He could not shoot at all. He really couldn't drive. He was weak. You know what I mean? He had to be developed, but he's 6'11". He's a freak of nature. You know what I mean? You hold on to those guys until those guys get it, and if they don't, you just whatever. You lost there. But NBA teams typically don't take chances on 6'1" guards that cannot score the ball. That just doesn't happen in the NBA. Those guys are rarely in fucking pro-am pickup leagues in your normal cities. You know what I mean? Those guys just, they don't really get chances.
Shout out Cortez Edwards.
Like, come on, man. Like, let's be honest. Cortez will outplay Bronny in this situation. If you just drop Bronny out and threw him on your pro-am team, and
brought him to the Smith Center next Saturday,
and you brought Cortez to the Lakers Summer League team, you gave him the same opportunities, it would look a lot different. It just would. It would look different. So that's my take, and that's
my take on Bronny is he has zero dog. He just does not impact games, and it's effort. Like, if you talk about like a defender, if that's what you're supposed to be as a smaller player, you have to be a tip of the spear defender, a ball pressure defender. You don't see that. Yeah. Like, he's just a passenger in every game I've seen him play in. He just jogs up and down the floor, kind of guards a guy, kind of spaces the floor. Once, every 12 possessions, he may make an aggressive movement. He just doesn't have any dog in him, and it's a shame. I don't think you can replace that or find that. You know, he's like, I mean, part of this, like, let's just go to the psychologist. Your dad is arguably the greatest player ever, and you're not blessed with his physical talent. You're playing the same sport that he dominates, but you're not necessarily, have the skills to be a dominant guy. Like, if you're going to stay in the sport, like, why not do it with a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Why not do it with like an everyday gnawing hunger to show that you belong? Because every narrative out there is that you don't belong and that you've been gifted this position. And instead of just being like cool and like understanding and whatever, it doesn't faze me. It doesn't faze you because nothing phases you. You're a corpse. You're the basketball equivalent of Don Cornelius.
Yeah.
Like, wake up and show that you give a shit.
Yeah. I say this all the time. You got to look at Gary Payton Jr. All right. They're the same height, roughly the same build. But when you look at Gary Payton plays,
Bronny and Payton GP2?
Yeah.
Okay.
GP2. He just plays with a different energy level. And he's the same type of player that they're saying Bronny is coming in. A defender first and this and that. Look at him defend versus when Bronny defends. Yeah. There is a huge difference.
And he makes second effort plays and he rebounds exceptionally well for his size. Just go play. Like, just go make shit happen. Like, just kind of drifting along as a passenger of the game, it helps nobody.
No.
And at some point, it gets really tiresome to watch.
Yeah.
Like, when are you going to give a shit?
Yeah.
Like, that's, when I watch, that's the thing. I mean, it's just, I need you to care. I need to feel that you care.
But when he's airballing open 3-point shots, you're done mentally. And if you're done mentally in the summer league, when there's absolutely no pressure, I mean, I guess you can make an argument there's pressure for him, but really there's no pressure. There's no pressure. You have a 4-year guaranteed contract as a late second round
pick. But you can't, like,
there's no pressure.
But that's even in your headspace is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you're not fit to play if that's part of what you're thinking.
You're just not.
If you're thinking anything other than winning the possession in front of me and making somebody respect me, you're not in the right place.
Yeah.
And that's like, you got to strip it down and make it that simple.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to win this possession, and at the end of this game, the 10 dudes on the court are going to respect me.
Yeah.
As a competitor, as a man, or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe a trans person. I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
Nah, but I just you gotta have some mentality that you're gonna make a difference.
No, you do. You do. He's actually playing tonight, so maybe he has a 30-point game tonight.
It's not like
it's not even about that. I know.
It's not even the stats.
It's not.
Just show that you care. Like, show that you're like fighting to prove something to somebody.
Yeah. It's the second quarter now. They're in late second. I mean, we have to watch the game, but he has 4 points, 1 rebound. So we'll see where that goes. That's decent. He's 2 for 2. And actually, the whole team is playing pretty well right now. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. Not going to be tracking Summer League score for score.
No, but other guys I've seen, like, I saw the top pick guy for Atlanta.
That's who they're playing tonight, actually.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah.
Like he had some skill. He had a little nose and feel for making some plays. I saw Sarr play a little bit. He's just kind of a generically athletic guy. He's not, for me, super coordinated. I don't see a great player there.
Does he have a comp? Because I haven't saw him in the summer league yet. I just saw that stat line.
Yeah, nothing that jumps to mind. Out. I mean, he ostensibly can shoot it a little bit. He's willing to take shots. He does run and move around well.
Yeah.
And again, he seems every bit of 7 feet. But I just don't he doesn't put it all together to really be consistently impactful. Stephon Castle's been really good.
Yeah.
And Shepard's been great. Reed Shepard. He's really
Reed
played.
Shepard has been really good.
Yeah. Those two guys have been fantastic. I thought Jared McClain's looked pretty good.
Yeah, especially this last game. But even in the games where he's not shooting really good, he's doing other stuff.
That was my critique of him, like that I didn't think when he wasn't hitting shots that he didn't do much.
Yeah.
But he carries himself like a pro, like a guy that is competing and wants to get after it. Him and Dillingham kind of like, had a little back and forth. Dillingham hasn't looked great, but you see some flashes there. Donovan Klingen's been okay.
Yeah, he's been okay.
He's been rebounding and blocking
both
shots.
big men.
Zach Edey's done his. I haven't seen Zach Edey play yet.
I saw the first game.
Okay,
I saw the very first
okay.
game. I haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
But
just guys that I have loosely observed. Trying to think of who else.
I was surprised that the Heat have Jaime Jaquez out there. He's been like he's been killing shit so much. Just like why is he even out here?
Heat culture, man.
It's like, why are you
out there playing?
Yeah.
But I respect it, man. Like, I mean, if you're like a guy, like, why wouldn't you want to play?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You're a basketball player. This is what I do.
And the Lakers have a guy that he's actually the brother of a guy that's in GM5, and I'm looking for his name.
Blake Hinson.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's from this area,
Deltona,
right?
Yeah,
he's from Deltona.
Yeah. No, he's playing. He's kind of like a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
He's hit a lot of threes this year for Pitt.
He had a really good game last game.
He's kind of like a big-bodied guy who can shoot threes. Doesn't appear really athletic, and I might see him. I don't know. Because he's from this area, but he doesn't look like he's in great shape. It looks like that if he locked in and committed himself to a better degree of fitness, like he'd probably be a little bit more impactful in the game and not just a 3-point shooter. I always like, being here in Orlando, like old school Dennis Scott, like when he was at Georgia Tech, he was a little chunky.
Yeah.
And even when he came into the league, but like he did. As he got older, like leaned out a little bit, became fitter. And he was never the most like athletic or smooth, like fluid athlete or explosive. But like that extra bit of care, like did a good job for him. Like help have a better career. I mean, Charles Barkley's another one who came in like freakishly athletic for a fat guy. He was legitimately fat, but over the course of his career, like he thinned out, took care of himself better, and that was impactful. I hope that Blake Hinson does the same.
Do you know if we have any other guys from the area that's playing summer league that you know of, like just off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I can think about it. I know him. He's involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the main one.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll definitely see how that pans out there. That's pretty much all I had for today, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
On the shorter side of the spectrum there.
All right.
We're supposed to have that massage lady in.
We gotta get back to having more regular guests.
Yeah, no, I know. She wants to come in on the 31st. I need to write her back.
All right.
And it's going to be talking about like not just massages, but like the sexual part of it. You know what I mean?
Happy ending.
It just that yeah. I have a lot of questions on that.
What?
Not happy ending part, but like.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
So these are like erotic sexual massages.
Not really, but and I'm sure in some cases it can come off as that,
Turn
right?
in that direction.
Yeah, and then you have guys that may I don't know, may I want to know if guys like try hair at all and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not a big massage guy.
Okay.
But like, I mean, I do think
I am.
Well, it's simply like, but you're in a better position to answer this. Like I'm assuming that if you're a guy getting massage from an attractive woman, that there's a part of you that like, hey, if this takes a certain turn, I'm okay.
I don't know. That really doesn't cross my mind. Really,
Yeah.
Really, when I'm getting a massage, I go to sleep.
Okay.
Because they put on this like calming music and and then
I don't need to spend $100 to fall asleep.
they set the ambiance. And then the actual massage, yeah, it just I don't know, it does something to me where it just goes straight to sleep.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not even up in that attention. You know what I mean?
But I'm assuming that if it did take a turn, you wouldn't be offended and jump off the table.
No, but my thing is I want to know because the person on the table is the one that has to make a move. The massage person is going to stay professional, I assume. Majority of the time.
Well, what happens when you assume things? No, I just feel like I just feel like it's a dynamic like rife for.
You think so?
I mean, just like again, I
because these are random people, so it's like
I would say like okay, like presumably these are professionals. You know, you're supposed to do a professional massage or whatever, and you probably desensitize yourself to a degree like sexual arousal if you're the masseuse. Like unless you're kind of in a different lane of massages, but like so you probably do keep it kind of professional or whatever. But I don't know. I just have it in my head that like maybe it's just the happy ending concept that like that if you're getting a massage, it's like hey, let's see how far this goes. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Now the one funny thing is when you're like overseas, and you get one of those massages. The whole thing is like, okay, when is this going to turn?
It's not if, it's just when.
It's just when, like, when is this going to turn?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when I had got my first massage over there, and first of all, it was the best massage I ever gotten.
Really?
So I wasn't expecting that, like, at all. I'm thinking it's just, a touch here, a slap there, and then action. But they really get in there and the massage and this and that and and it was a full massage. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, this feels really good, but like
when does part
it's
two
not
come?
all I paid for. I mean, it's not what these are not the terms we discussed here.
These are not the terms we discussed.
So that's the one funny thing about that.
I don't know. So yeah.
Let me see if there's any other sports news going on here. That was good. We caught that little Caitlyn thing.
Yeah.
We should have gotten in a W. But it'll still probably lead the news cycles tomorrow because it's not
there's nothing else going on.
Nothing else going on. Oh yeah, Team USA. I mean, they played today.
Just crushed Serbia.
Yeah, crushed Serbia.
Steph got on a heater and
yeah.
There they go.
And the thing about the Team USA is, I understand that these other countries have talent. As of course, Serbia had Jokic, and if I'm not mistaken, they have one of the Bogdanovic. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm like 90% sure of that. I don't know if he played today, but and they build up these other teams that say that USA has to be. But here's I just don't think these guys are not going to lose, man. It's just not going to lose, and now that doesn't take away the if I'm available to watch, I'm going to watch. I mean, because I like to see these guys play, but they're just not going to lose, man. They have all of these cast of characters now. There's been some mixed play here and there. I know Embiid got off to a really rough start in the first two exhibition games.
Yeah.
Against whatever. Kerr came out today, said he's going to keep him as a starter. But Anthony Davis and Bam, they've looked like really good. Their argument could be made. Probably Anthony Davis probably been the best player on the whole team thus far. He's been crazy. Anthony Edwards has been good, really good. And then, like you said, Curry got off to a hot start. He had a hot game today. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with these things is there's 5 players on the court.
Yeah.
And you got 12 really good ones.
Yeah.
And there's an economic cost to every player that you play or don't play.
And it's a shorter game, too.
Shorter game. 40 minute, 4 quarters, 10 minutes. And so, like, in the context of an individual game, when you talk about can you be beat or whatever, it's like I still think yes, because, if you just, if you have groups that don't function well together and you don't adjust or change quickly, like, okay, let's say like Steph can't hit a shot and Embiid's just out of sorts. Like, how long does Steve Kerr ride that? How quickly does he adjust and pivot to something else? Is there something that, he can still, like maybe those two guys are terrible in the first quarter. Is there an inclination or is there an appropriate moment, like maybe in the second half, when you take another look at those guys and maybe they're decisive in some way? But maybe you screw every one of those decisions up on a certain night, and the players just don't respond.
Yeah.
And now you're in a dogfight in the fourth quarter, and somebody's just on fucking fire, and nobody could stop them.
Yeah.
And there you are. Like, it's just, games have, like, rhythms and things to them and within them that they're hard to predict and hard to manage.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, you Serbia, for example. Like, you could get to a fourth quarter in a one-possession game, and we just might not be able to stop Jokic.
Yeah.
Like, in that moment, and maybe, a three or, some shots go astray for us, and you get beat. Like, I always feel that it could happen. And the other side of that coin is I always feel we should win. No, man, but we talked about when Bryce was on the show. Like, from a coaching perspective, like, you just look at it like, all right, how are we going to win? How are we going to give ourselves a chance to win? Like, what is that? What's the personnel? What's the tactic? What's the push throughout the game and the adjustments to do that? That's the goal. That's the job. You're not shrinking from it, but it doesn't mean you're going to succeed every time.
Now, they're trying to compare this team to the Redeem team, and I just think the Redeem team was much better. What are your thoughts? I have the roster here pulled up if you want to.
What I would say, this does feel a lot closer to potentially the Dream Team than the Redeem team. My thing in the Redeem team, if I'm recalling the roster correctly, it had so many players closer to the peak of their powers.
Yeah.
And this has a little bit of the Legends Tour. The guys are still very good, and like you said, most likely good enough to win this without too much of a sweat. And that's kind of what the Dream Team was. I mean, you brought back Larry and Magic on that team.
Yeah.
And you kind of had, Christian Laettner just being a useless body. But you had, like, Prime Michael and Prime Charles Barkley and Prime Scottie Pippen. And those guys could turn it up to a level nobody could touch at that time.
Yeah.
And I feel like a little bit, like, we don't have the equivalent of that with this team. Like, we don't have, we have aging LeBron, aging Steph, and a few other aging KD. But, the prime players to me are not, not Michael, Scottie, and who the other guy I mentioned.
Oh, you said Michael, Scottie, and
Charles Barkley.
And Charles.
At that, we don't have that on this team.
Yeah.
So that would be the thing. But I do think it's that blend of, like, the legends and the rising guys that are here.
Very last thing here. Did you catch the Karl Malone thing?
No, which thing?
So he talked about his son thing. Let me see if that was I saw that on social media. One second. Because his son is in the NFL that he had from the very young girl. What was that? 14-year-old girl or something?
Yeah, 13 or 14.
Yeah. And he made a statement recently about him.
Okay.
Let me see here. Are they gonna show it? Maybe it's something we'll talk about next week because I gotta find the quote. And I had came across it on social media.
What was, like, the nature of the quote though?
It was something like, oh man, we'll let's see my response. No. We'll talk about it next week. Next week,
Okay.
I'll get it back.